I always imagine financial planners seem for like rich people.
Very good point. Very good point.
You know what I mean? I always think like you need a lot of money to have a planner.
And that's not true, really, because when you think about it, everything is comparative. I mean, what's a lot of money to you may not be a lot of money to other people.
Definitely.
So, and everything, and you'll find that regardless of what stage of your life you are, having a trusted partner, like an advisor, much like you will have your healthcare provider, is just as important.
I do have a financial planner.
I have a financial planner. Basically what they do, it's for your personal and for your, I'm an entrepreneur, so it's for your personal and your business finances.
I just cross my fingers every minute I trust her because I trust her.
So I find that to be really, really comforting.
And what should we be looking for? What kind of questions should we ask? What questions should we expect to be asked of us?
Right. So you interview that person, really. Once you find a trusted advisor, you interview that person. And some common questions would be, do you work by yourself? Do you work in a team? That's very important because you want to see what depth they have. Another question would be, what is your typical client? You want to make sure that you align your financial situation with their clients, right? Another one to ask would be a question, what is your process? So if I come to you, much like your doctor has a process, what is their process? Do you start with a financial plan? Here are what my goals and objectives are, so how can you help me? Because these people need to be your partner, really, in this roadmap and this journey you're going to be set off to go to. And then the other thing, which is very important to a lot of people, the fees. What are your fees and charges? How do I pay you?
My husband and I come to you and we sit and we talk about our goals. Then how does it work? Like, is it something that you put one big plan together, or something we check in quarterly, monthly, yearly? Like, I literally clearly know nothing about this.
That's fine.
Which hopefully some of you don't know anything about this too.
It's a journey. What do we have to think about it is that this is a journey. So as you come to, let's say you come to our office and you meet our team, the first thing we ask you is that we ask you to tell us more about yourself. So what is your situation? You and Jonas are married. What are your goals? What are your objectives? You have 2 children. Have you set any money aside for the college, for the retirement? Do you have long-term care? Do you give to charity? There's so many questions we ask. And
you know what my biggest goal is? Yeah. I don't want my kids to have to take care of me.
So there you go.
That is my biggest goal, is I don't want my kids to have to take care of me.
And that's a great goal. And that's something that is very personal to you, which is what your advisor needs to take to heart. So once we take all this information and we take the investments and everything you have that is going to finance these goals, what we do is that we create a financial plan. And based on the financial plan, then we set up a financial roadmap and the investments that go with it. And this is the part really where you engage us, and this is where you pay us. But it's a journey. It's not a one-meeting situation. It's something that's going to happen over time. And then once we set up this roadmap and you feel comfortable with it, because that's $1 million thing, you have to feel comfortable with it, then we recheck it every year. And we recheck it as life changes too. Yeah, I think the issue about finances and why women don't get involved is the fact that we don't give credit to the fact that really our finances are about psychology. It's about how we feel about them, right? Like you mentioned, you don't want to be a burden to your children. And you said, you know, I grew up, my parents got a divorce, it was terrible. And we carry those fears, and that's what drives us. And I think we need to give credit to that and understand that we are driven by the psychology of money, not so much about the details which involve the investments and finding, you know, the right stocks and bonds and everything else. If I had the flu today, right, would I treat myself or would I go to the doctor?
You go to the doctor.
Right. So I would do the same thing with my finances. Why wouldn't I find a trusted advisor?
Like 30 years ago in my life.
Right? And exactly.
It's never too late to start. Well, and I think we need to empower women, because I have so many friends who have been divorced.
I have a very good arrangement with my son's father. We are very good friends, and he helps with the rent, and he helps with some other mainstay things for Jesse. Obviously, I don't get alimony. I just wanted my son to be taken care of as best that his father was going to be able to facilitate.
And educated women, many of them who stayed at home for a long time with their families and then really find themselves lost. And these are freaking incredible, strong women. And me, who's married, I've sort of relied on my husband to do this. So I really want women, everybody out there today, talk to your spouse if you have one, or your partner, call a friend, call a financial planner, and let's do this together, because I need to definitely get started myself. Goals seem lofty because right now, at least for me, I've got to put 2 kids through college coming up soon. And that's where my mind is at, let alone where I'm going from there.
As women, we actually live longer now. That's
That's why I married a younger man.
And I married an older man, right?
Yes, right.
And I have a 10-year-old daughter that I have to plan for college. But the second reason is also, when we think about it, is there are a lot more divorces. Actually, 50% of marriages will probably end up in divorce. And the highest rate of divorce right now, the highest increase of divorce right now, is in the 50-year plus range. So what we call the silver divorce. And then when we think about it, 8 out of 10 of us will end up having to deal with our finances at some point in time in our lives.
So because the divorce rate is so high,
Right.
and women live longer than men,
That's right.
we need to take control of our finances.
Right. So at some point in time, it seems to me that statistics show that we'll have to. So the question becomes, do we want to do this at a time when we can sit here, just get a piece of paper and just start writing our goals and objectives? Or we can do that after we lose a loved one, like our husband, or we go through a divorce. And those are the most unfortunate times for us to actually get in gear and do this sort of thing.
I know that even though both my husband and I work, he has always been sort of in charge of our finances. It doesn't mean that I have an allowance. It's not that we're very equal partners, but he's kind of the one who has planned, who has done our bank accounts, who, if there's investing, we talk about it. But I mean, God forbid, honey, I hope nothing happens to you, and I promise I'm not divorcing you. But God forbid, I would be playing catch up. Like, I kind of have an idea, but I don't really. Right. And I don't think I'm alone.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, Jennifer. I think most people, what they do is that, much like us, they think that we have to be just a specialist, or we have to know everything to get involved with our finances. And the reality, we don't. And what you'll also find out is a lot of men that are involved with their finances don't necessarily have a financial plan for their family. They may be involved with the management of the investments, but not have a financial plan. So perhaps the starting point would be where we sit down, and it could be just ourselves or with our husband or a significant other, and we start writing down our goals. And we can write goals that are important to us in the short term, what we would call a liquidity bucket, or we can do a longevity bucket, which will be 4 years to the rest of our lives, and that would cover retirement, let's say our children going to college. What would we like to do charitably wise? You know, how many organizations do we want to give to, and how much money can we affordably leave for these organizations? And then we do what's called the legacy bucket, where we sit down together and say, okay, honey, if today we both get hit by a bus, what will happen to us? How would we like to be remembered? What would our children, what do we want to leave our children? What we would like to leave to your alma mater? What would we like to give, or leave, I should say, to an organization that we both feel very passionate about in our lives?
The two big takeaways for me are, at some point I'm going to be in charge of my finances, even though I did marry a younger man, so hopefully he'll outlive me. And the other is that I need somebody who is a specialist, that is a professional in this, that just like, as you said, if I had the flu, I wouldn't try and, diagnose myself or treat myself. Why should I do that with my finances?
Right. Right, right. And just find a trusted advisor to take you through your journey, your financial journey. Look at it as an adventure. Look at it as something that would actually, at the end of the day or the end of the journey, you'll feel comfortable. Down the line, you'll say, I feel great because I have a plan.